All right, welcome everybody to another edition of the Focus TV. We're very happy to be with you guys tonight. Got Octavia Wyatt, Raymond Lyons, Cardell Dudley Jr., Wilson Tarpe Jr., and once again, welcome to the Focus TV. We got a very special guest tonight, so we're not going to waste any time getting to it. Want to get the most out of the time that we have this man available. So, I want to introduce you guys to Keion Kindred, also known as the Gatekeeper, the CEO, founder, and head trainer of CLC Basketball. Consistency leads the currency, and also the head coach of Northeast Los Angeles Prep Academy. So, Keion, welcome to the show.
Oh, appreciate you guys for having me. It's definitely good to catch up with you. We've been knowing each other for a few years now, so I'm definitely be back on talking to you guys.
All right, man. So we're not, like I said, we're not gonna waste any time and get right to it. So I'm gonna kick things off with a question. I want to start with Northeast Los Angeles Prep. This is its inaugural season. If you could just talk about how much the pandemic has affected you, your staff, and trying to, this is the first year trying to build a program from the ground up.
As you stated, the pandemic is not only affecting me; it's affecting worldwide, everyone. It's just kind of put a lot of things that I had anticipated just in slow motion. It's hard to recruit, as you know. It's even harder to host visits. Parents and with these kids, and their health is so important. You don't want to just risk it coming to California, where I think we're still like the number one state in terms of cases, and I don't know about deaths. I haven't done the exact research up to date, but I just know that we're still in quarantine. We're locked down, so it's hard to tell a person, yeah, come out here, let me host you, give you the full experience. Where our facility is closed, I can't really take you any restaurants. That's closed. Can't really put you up in hotels. So it kind of just the recruiting aspect of it gets very difficult. And then as a coach, being able to have the kids that are here that are local, not being able to work them out and get them, during that summer is the time that you create that chemistry, that bond with your players. Going into my first season as a coach, I lost that because being on lockdown, we have no gym access to Los Angeles County, so we got to go maybe an hour and a half out the way to possibly get in the gym and get some work done, which is just difficult in certain times.
All right. One of the things that stood out when I was just reading about the program a bit, you guys had kind of like in your mission statement, just the core belief in our academy is to evolve. Can you elaborate on that a bit and speak to the importance of it, at least both on and off the court?
I mean, when I got into this, as you know, because Cardell and I have known each other for years, I'm coming from a pro background. I've worked with pros the last 10 years. And when I decided to make this move to become a prep school coach at the national level is because I wanted to get a glimpse of these kids a little earlier. I would normally see them 2-3 years removed from college in the pre-draft process or something like that. So now it's where I get these kids at 16, 17, where I may be able to fix some of the things that I would fix at 22, 23. And it just makes sense. I've always been about evolving better players, whether male or female. I always want you to leave this gym, leave my presence as a better person. So it was about the development. I didn't really care too much about wins and losses. For me, it was strictly about getting these kids an opportunity to understand the next level, the collegiate level, or even the professional level, to be honest with you, be truthful, tell you what it's really going to be like, not to sugarcoat it. It's not one of those easiest things. I'm going to yell at you. I'm going to cuss you out. I've told parents, your kids are going to hear words they probably don't hear in your household. They're going to hear when they talk to me because that's real life. And I want these kids to get prepared for real life. It's not a cakewalk, as we all understand. So whether you go play for Coach K or Izzo, you're going to hear some things that you may not hear from mom and dad. But it's to get these kids to understand that once you get from under mommy and daddy, you belong to me. So it's kind of just giving them the reality of how the world works.
All right. Who's up next with a question?
I'll go next. Just wanted to ask, it's interesting to see guys, that had your career trajectory. You start off, you were a really good player, 5-star recruit, won some state championships, national championship. Just kind of what was your mindset, with your playing career kind of ending prematurely? Like you're still a young guy, like under typical circumstances, you probably just be finishing up your career maybe a couple of years ago, or maybe still be playing. Just just talk about how you kind of transition and were able to stay positive and turn your career into something else.
It was tough. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be completely transparent. It was a mental warfare inside of me, and I used to call those two people. Now, mind you, I'm not diagnosed schizophrenic or anything, but me in this internal battle, it was Keion versus Keys, and it was hard because at the end of the day, one of those was gonna lose. Because I'm fighting myself in this mirror because of the player that I used to be. I would get through the injuries, try to rehab, and get back on the floor, but as we all understand with the game, once the injury happens, your body's not the same. And I was getting hurt in the areas where my right knee alone, where it affected my game tremendously. I was a big, strong hybrid. I was like one of the first hybrid guards at 6'5", 235, run a 4.3, jump 40 inches off the ground. But now you're taking away my knees, so now I'm slower. As I got my first surgery, can't run, can't really work on my legs, so I started lifting weights. Now I'm up to 260. I look like Julius Peppers running a point guard in college, and now all of a sudden, now I'm slower. I'm not as athletic. So, it just started to trickle down. And then by the time I turned, I graduated college, like about 24, physically my body was just wearing down on me. And then by the time 26 came around, I got the words that probably me and Brandon Roy would never want to hear again is, you have a degenerative heart disease and you have to walk away from the game. So I had to retire basketball at 26, 27. And then at that point, it was, I'm from South Central Los Angeles, so it was either pick the streets or pick up another route. And I just, had to figure it out. And the basketball that stuck by me, and I'd always said that basketball was going to pay me back. I literally gave it blood, sweat, and tears. At some point, basketball has to pay me back. They in debt with me. So training happened accidentally. I ended up working out with some guys I just saw in the gym. Shout out to them, Sheldon Bailey and Justin Johnson from Fayetteville, North Carolina. We were in the gym and they were making some mistakes, and the coach in me and the trainer in me looked and was like, "Hey, fellas, because you need to do this, do that, and that'll help you fix your move and whatnot." And just naturally, they enjoyed being taught, and they had mentioned to me, "Hey, Keion, you ever thought about being a trainer?" And as we all know, training wasn't something our generation grew up with. We had to go learn, trial by fire, go to the playground with the older guys, turn the ball over and sit for 8 games or go home. So now it wasn't about working out, and I didn't know how to work people out. I just knew how to correct your mistakes. So it was something that I eventually just said, let me see how this works. And here we are 9-10 years later, and I'm successful at it.
Octavia.
And also, what?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
No problem. No, and just also with that, I know you mentioned like training, really wasn't a thing when we were coming up. I think everybody here is around the same age. Like, just kind of what do you feel like? What do you think about like the current training phenomenon? And like, I know at least in this area, blacktop basketball is basically extinct. Like, what do you feel like the impact that's had on the game?
I think it's destroyed the game, that you don't get a chance to grow up the way we grew up. I mean, it's kind of a gift and a curse. I mean, maybe my knees would have survived a few more years if I would have stopped playing on the blacktop. But coincide with that, I was able to learn certain things that you needed later in life, or you needed to go when you jumped into a high school at the caliber of Dominguez where I went, or going into college where you're going to meet some dudes that's better than you, some dudes bigger than you, tougher than you. And you learn that on those blacktops, playing with the older guys. Nowadays, with training and kids being coddled and everything being so visible, these kids they're losing what I consider that one tangible thing we got, which was the real toughness of the game. Like, everybody is no excuse my language, they're soft. These kids are very soft. They're too friendly. They're Instagram buddies. We're all shaking hands and hugging. I wasn't raised like that. Like, like when we talked earlier about, the guys that I was at USA with, I tried to go at their neck. We sat in the dorm for a week straight trying to become friends. But as soon as we got between those lines, I couldn't stand the sight of you. I mean, I used to go at Sean Dockery as if he stole something from me every day at practice or in exhibition games at camp, because I was mad he was on Chicago Preps on TV, and here I am at Dominguez, so we ain't got nobody following us. Like, I took it personal that I should be in his shoes. So every day he's trying to, what's up, Key? I'm looking at this dude like we about to fight because we ain't friends. Like this ain't about who's going to make the USA team. I'm trying to be the #1 point guard when I leave here. But it was personal because that's how we attack the game. Nowadays, me and him would have took a picture together, follow each other on Instagram, and try to probably be on the same AAU team. So now that part of the game is soft. And as a trainer, I try to develop that sense of competition. Just compete, man. We can be friends later, but right now we're all battling for the same thing. And at that time, it was for a scholarship. Now it's for our livelihood. Like there's only 400 some spots in that league. We all can't go. And if we cool and we all, let's say it's one spot left and it's you and me in a workout, me and Cardell are friends, it ain't about his friendship. This is millions of dollars on the line. Who gonna get it? Who gonna go get that money?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Cardell not gonna pay me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for taking the day off. He won't do that. We didn't come up with that agreement. Whoever gets it, go have. No, that's his money, and I gotta sit back and watch my man play in the league while I gotta go overseas. So no, y'all not competing for the right reason.
Xavier.
Well, to kind of like keep going with that, like how difficult is it for you to kind of get this type of stuff across to kids coming up now? Because like you said, like I'm close to your age. I'm not that far. So like we all kind of grew up the same way, like you said, and I definitely agree that kids have been coddled. How hard is it for you to kind of get them out of that mindset to, kind of like you said, have that killer mentality?
I tell you, we struggle with it every day because now, which is for lack of a better era, some of us were raised without our fathers as a stereotype in Black communities. But now Black men are involved in kids' lives, and now these guys are hovering over their kids, trying to live vicariously through them. So it's not more or less getting the kids to buy in; it's getting the parents to get away from them, and stop being a helicopter parent and let like I said, if you have boys or any of them here have sons, let them fall, scrape his knee. You're not gonna sit there and hold them and kiss the boo boo and tell him he's gonna be all right. We're gonna look at him and say, "Get up, you're all right. Let's go, keep moving." But that's the difference now. So as a trainer and even as a coach, I'm okay with letting my kids make mistakes, but I'm not used to explaining it to 4 or 5 people. It's just, look, your son didn't play because today he wasn't that good. There is nothing else to talk about. Now parents have the access to ask questions, and that part of the game it destroys it because, like I said, when we played, it was only 9 or 10 AAU teams. Matter of fact, when I played against Baltimore Select, there was only 2 teams in Maryland at that time. And I don't remember the other one, but I know Baltimore Select was the best team. So it wasn't like a ton of the best players could just, not get all on their one team. Now, if you don't like your team, if your parents got enough money, you gonna make your own team. And now we got a billion AAU teams, and these kids playing 7 games a day. It's like it's watered down the competition, but it's also watered down teaching. I can't teach you now because if you don't like what I'm saying, you'll just go to the next man and he'll be a yes man for you and just take your money. Oh, here, little Timmy, good job. Timmy can't make a left hand layup. He's throwing it over the basket. And you sitting there telling him, good job. And that parent's still forking over whatever amount of money they pay for training. So the problem now is trying to get the parents to release the kids back to us. We were all raised by a village. Some of your uncles are people that are not blood related to you. Some of the people that taught you how to play are not really related to you. Now everybody has a say in how your development is when instead of the people that have played the game, which is a very, very, very difficult situation now.
That's actually a great point because I really agree with the parent things because parents back in the day, like it's completely
Take
different.
my kids.
But yeah, I mean they like it's definitely different now. But then just my last question is I'm just curious to know like the CLC, consistency leads to currency, like how did you come up with that? I think that's really like a good thing.
That's a
really
bar.
valid.
That's a bar. Say it. That's a bar. Yeah, that's a bar. It came up and accidentally, and it wasn't like I was working on my rhyme skills or anything, and it kind of just flowed naturally. It wasn't a natural idea. I didn't say those words in that order. It was kind of a accumulation of what I was thinking at the time, what I was doing at the time, and then I had said it, and it made sense. I was working out with a good friend of mine. Shout out to Han Johnson from Columbus, Ohio. We were in college. We were working out early morning, and where they're from, I guess when they make shots, they used to say cash. So every time he shoots, he say cash. He was running off a few. And then as he was shooting, I was watching his guide hand. So his guide hand would sometimes be too far over or way off the ball. And I was like, hey, bro, you gotta become consistent. You got to keep your guide hand in one area as you shoot, even though once he releases it, it's one-hand shot. But your mechanics need to be consistent. And then he made a few. I said, see, consistency leads to that. And he was like, cash. So I heard consistency. I heard the word lead. And then he said cash. Cash kind of wasn't my vocabulary. So then later down the line, I was like, consistency leads to currency. And I just kind of ran with it. I held on to it for a few years. And then right as I got into my training business, when they come up with a name and a logo, I didn't want to be simple. I didn't want 2K basketball training, Kindred Sports Academy, whatever it could be. I wanted something that meant more than basketball, something that kind of, if you heard it, it will relate to you in all aspects of life. And I was like, I don't care what it is in life. If you're not good at it, you won't get paid at it. And if you're bad at it, you won't get paid. You won't get paid at it. So whether you're inconsistent or consistent, there's a result. And then consistency leads to currency. Currency can be whatever you want. It's just now you have a reason, you have a goal. So here's why we start, and here's what your result is. So consistency leads to currency makes sense. And the acronym CLC I love, because if you look at it in print, it looks like the eye and the nose. And then if you look at the Washington Wizards logo, it looks just like CLC. So every time the Wizards play, I smile.
That's great marketing, man. That's great marketing. I love it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Hey, Keion, just tell us about the mission behind, NELA Prep Academy, and academically, what does it have to offer?
I mean, academically, to be honest, Cordell, we're not in that, that realm of one of the scholar academic schools. Prep schools can't really offer you that. But what we are doing is making sure that kids are held accountable. You're not going to just sit in front of this laptop, play around, and go through your classes and be mediocre, because at the end of the day, and I'm living proof. I don't know for majority of you, but once sports ended for me, I was able to say that I graduated college with 3 degrees, and these kids have to understand there's life after basketball. So as a person who's an advocate of education, who, like I said, basketball didn't pan out the way I wanted it to, I'm glad that I'm able to fall back on my degree, even though I'm still a coach and a trainer, but able to have something that you can't take from me, which mentally, that's a blessing. You can't take the knowledge that I've learned over the years from reading those books and being involved in college and actually being a student athlete, not just an athlete that became a student. So academically for us is just to make sure these kids are held accountable. Like, this is your future. I'm done playing. I don't have to go to school ever again, thank God. But you have to now sit in these books and really take advantage of it, because, like I said, we know the percentages. They've scared us our entire career. It's 1%, 2%, 3% to make it to the pros and blah, 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 depending on your demographic, where you come from, if you even live to see 30. So I tell kids, man, take advantage of this so your parents don't have to pay for college. That's the one thing I was so happy about with getting a scholarship athletically. Like, yeah, I was a good basketball player, but the biggest dream was my mom couldn't afford it. I was able to go to college for 6 years, and my mother never had to pay a dime. I don't have any student loans, and I was able to meet people of all aspects of life, all walks of life, and those are the experience years that we learn from. College is fun. So I tell these kids, like, you want to be able to make sure your parents don't have to pay a dime for school, so you can do it one or two ways. Either be the greatest athlete on the floor, which is a sacrifice, or be one of the best students in the classroom, which is easier. So I'm just stressing, like I said, real life. No fluff, no gimmick. What you're going to see is exactly what we're going to do every day.
Man, yeah, keeping it real. That's what's needed these days, more than ever. One thing I noticed when I checked out the school, outside of yourself, you have like NBA level staff, on the basketball side with Olin Simplis, who's worked with Spencer Dinwiddie, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and a guy that, has come to his own here in DC, and Rui Hachimura, as a trainer. Then y'all have Shet Johnson, Adam Webster as strength and conditioning coaches. That's an all-star staff for these kids. Just talk about that setup and how that came about.
The setup was easy. Those guys are all good friends of mine. They're not too far from the area. The school is in a great suburb city, which is Glendale, which is about 10 minutes north of Los Angeles. So it's out the way, but it's not too far. And those guys all all want the same thing. So it wasn't I didn't have to sell them on anything. I said, look, man, let's create something that hasn't worked yet in the city of Los Angeles. We have prep schools in California. Prolific Prep has done a great job, and that's Northern California, but we don't have a prolific prep type school here in Los Angeles. You have Finlay Prep in Vegas. They went under last summer or 2 summers ago. So it's like we need one on the West Coast. The biggest thing on the West Coast for us is outside of prolific prep is Sierra Canyon High School, modern day high school. You know, maybe Bishop O'Dowd in the Bay Area, but we don't have a predominant prep. So I came with these guys who are all professionals and said, look, man, we can continue this pipeline. All the talent is here in Los Angeles. Everybody wants to be in LA. Why don't we have what they need? If you have 2 of everything here, 2 NBA teams, 2 or 3, 4 baseball teams, football teams, like we have 2 of everything. Sierra Canyon, modern day. We don't have 0 preps. I said, well, if we leave prolific up north, we need one here. You know, so that was the idea, and they all just backed it. They all want to help these kids get to the top Division I's or whatever level they can achieve, but we all want to do it as a village and help these guys. So I wanted to get the best staff available to make sure that I had no lapses in case, maybe I'm not there early one day. Olin can take over. That's a guy that's very credible in the business. I don't need to be there. I can actually stay at home an extra 2 hours and let Olin do all the training, and I'll just go there and coach or go to practice. So guys that I trust and guys I can depend on.
Okay. LA is a far trip for prep school for, let's say, a DMV kid. So what would separate NELA Prep from other established prep schools that may be closer to the area, that would motivate a kid, especially their parents, like you said earlier, to, I'm going to go out to LA and play for you guys?
I mean, outside of the obvious California, like I said, if wherever the DMV is, I'm pretty sure y'all got seasons. We don't. It's always sunny here. I'm pretty sure it gets cold. Might snow. I ain't been there in a while, but I'm pretty sure y'all go through some climate changes. We don't. So everybody wants to be here because of the weather. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, the diversity. Like I said, it's just Los Angeles. We have everything you need. So it's just about being here. Then I got to be a little selfish here in this regard. I don't care what prep school in the country has had, some type of prestige. And I love what IMG is doing. I love what Montverde is doing. Brewster, Huntington, like there's some great preps. But at the end of the day, on a competitive level, when you look at the person that runs the establishment, I'm willing to go head to head with anybody in the country on resume. And it's because I've spent the last 10 years developing pros. Some of you guys have gotten lucky being able to coach pros, which is 2 different things. You know what I'm saying? You come to me, you give me a freshman, he'll be a way different person by the time he's a senior. If you gave me, I don't know, any kid that went to Montverde last year, and this is not, I'm not saying nothing about Montverde. This is not anything towards them. But
right,
how much development did they have to do with 9 Division I guys? That's kind of like, and I'm not saying that they don't, but I'm just saying, but my whole thing is about the development. We'll win games because sometimes you're just out-talent some people, and I'm a pretty good coach, some have said. So at the end of the day, I just know I'm not going to let anyone outwork me at helping these kids get better. Like, that's all I'm worried about. I don't sell winning a national title. I don't sell about, traveling all across the country to play. You come here, you will get better, and that's all that matters.
Respect. I don't see how anybody can not like that. But let's take it back a little bit. Go back to, the high school days, man. Dominguez, which was a special time. I made a lot of noise nationwide. You definitely heard about y'all heavy over here. These Cali boys just slaughtering everybody. Just talk about those years playing for such a dominant high school program, man, and how much fun it was.
See, fun would be subjective because it was so competitive, man. It wasn't fun, but it became fun. It's kind of like how we all are about like eating hot food. It's like eating hot food. You know what I'm saying? Whether you eat hot Cheetos or you like hot wings or something, it's like, that's burning you, right? Like but it feels so good to you. Yet you put another one, you eat another one, you eat another one. And that's what Dominguez was. It was a ton of talent. As a freshman, I walked in, and I'll tell you guys a quick story. So I was from my middle school that summer, going from middle school to high school, when I decided that I was going to go to Dominguez and not my home school, which is Crenshaw. And you all know Crenshaw, Nipsey Hussle, and Love and Basketball. That's where that school is. Very, very, very school. Boys in Hood. Yeah, so Crenshaw is one of the biggest schools in Los Angeles. Like unbelievable gym, and all the banners and stuff. But when I chose to go to Dominguez, so back when we went to school, we had uniforms. I know y'all had uniforms. You had PE outfits.
Yeah.
So I got a call saying that there was open gym. And mind you, this ain't no phone call on the cell. This is a house phone. So they called 3 or 4 times. Mama picked up, talking about Keion, on the phone for you. He was like, hey, Key, we trying to let you know we got open gym at Dominguez. On this day, come through. I was like, okay, cool. Got a hold of my godfather. Told him I had left PE because I'm in Los Angeles. My high school's in Compton. I left PE in my PE outfit, all blue top and bottom. Got to Dominguez. Mind you, I was one of the bigger guys in middle school. Like I was like maybe 6'1", 200 pounds. So I'm a big guy. Like amongst my peers, I walk in there. Tayshaun Prince is there. Tyson Chandler's there. I ain't met too many 6'9" and 7-footers that can play. I walk in there and I'm probably one of the smallest people in the gym. And I'm in my PE outfit. So I'm nervous as all get out. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for high school. So I knew a few players that were already there. Kenny Bruner, a good friend of mine, and he had graduated. He was there. So Kenny and I was, because he comes to my middle school to play on the weekends along with Jay Hart and Baron Davis. So he's like, Key, man, you got to get out there and play, man. Show these dudes how LA do it. And I'm like, in my PE outfit, looking like, I know they're laughing at me. I have on a horseman PE outfit. So I know the upper class is like, who is this kid? So I finally get on maybe the second, third game. Some dude that had to be like in high school, you had to walk on. The dude that barely plays. He seen me and he's like, oh, we got one. And it lit a fuse. So he said, oh, we got one. He kind of jab, went baseline. He didn't beat me, but he was trying to like be physical. When I say I pushed it out of that boy, threw him all into the pad and was like, nah, bro, it ain't that easy. Everybody said, oh, you gonna let a freshman talk to you like that? So he got a little more physical. I got the ball, we switched. They was like, go at him. I went downhill so hard and hit this dude dead in his chest. He fell. I made the layup and threw the ball at him. I was like, and I'm coming to take your spot. After that, I was approved. They love me. LA's in the building. You can come here.
Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do. Heck yeah, that's a way to send a message. Speaking about the
once I sent that message, no, I'm saying once I sent that message, it was just being in an environment where winning meant everything. And I think that's, and I tell people, I think losing is a mentality. And you got to get out of that mentality. We won everything. In my high school tenure, in 4 years, just take my 3 years when we were exceptional, I had lost 9 games in 3 years. First year, 35-3. Next year, 40-2. Tyson senior year, 35-4, something like that. I lost 9 games in 3 years. I won 3 consecutive state titles. I led my team to a national championship as a sophomore. Matter of fact, here's another short story. My freshman year, we played Oak Hill. We play Oak Hill every year. I'm 2-2 against them. Steve Blake hit me with a 4-point play my freshman year. I subbed in for 8 seconds. I subbed in. I picked him up full court. They ran a play. Next thing you know, he pump faked me and I fouled him. He had an and one, and I came right out. Damn Maryland. Now I'm upset again. I want to sub myself out. But it was special times, man. It was great to be a part of, that rock star life. Thank God Instagram wasn't around at that time. Thank God social media wasn't around. We were rock stars, and watching Tyson grow and come into the man he was becoming. Us traveling the world. And honestly, by the time I got to college, it was boring because I'd already seen everything. I became numb to college. If you wasn't sold out arenas, if it wasn't the best Nike gear, if it wasn't playing against the best players in the country, it wasn't. I couldn't get excited for it. So, playing at that level was tough. And that's why going from there to the NBA kind of makes sense. But it was tough for us to move on. A lot of us struggled in college because it was so much of a demand on us to be good in high school.
I understand that, man. I believe seeing what Tyson had to deal with all the hype surrounding him, whether he was going to make the jump or not, do you think that better prepares you as a coach now, dealing with, talented players who may grow into that type of hype?
I agree. I definitely think it's helped me because I watched him. He's a year older than us, so I watched him as a sophomore, junior, and senior and make those moves. And I saw the people around him I saw the real friends. I saw the wolves coming. I saw the, excuse my language, like I saw the groupies coming. Like I was able to see a lot of things at a young age that later helped me understand how hard it is to be that guy, to be in that limelight. And whether I get a lottery pick in the next 2 or 3 years or a kid that's, like a Mikey who has 1 million followers, I can now give him or her, because I do coach women, give them stories about, hey, I saw this back in 2001, 2000, and the time difference doesn't change, but I saw how people treated him. You're gonna get a lot of new friends when you're the main attraction. It's gonna be a lot of, now, like I said, now they have access to you. You really couldn't get a hold of Tyson back then, but now all they gotta do is click follow, and you can DM them, and you can even make a video call on Snapchat. So it's just too much access. So to help these kids understand that you got to at some point to plug, you got to unplug, you got to get away from that, because you'll hear a lot of things that sound great to the ear, but may not mean much to the heart. They don't really want to see you win. They just want to see you win to help them win. They're not really in it for your best interest. And that's where I'll come as a great, advisor to these kids in the coaching world that I'm taking out of prep school.
Man, that what else do a kid need, man? You've been there, and done that, and saw all that, so they'd be in good hands. One question I want to ask you that's kind of related to our class, the O2. You was fortunate enough, obviously, to get invited to USA basketball and youth camp, and you got the chance to see LeBron, who's a year behind us, but he was our age. Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire, just the cream and crop of our class. Talk about that experience.
Oh man, I wish we could go back. Where's the cameras now? I need all that footage. I'm about to sue somebody. You could just lock in and understand that it was the top 60 players in the country. Well, 59, because LeBron definitely took somebody's spot that should have been there. But top 60 players in the country. We're all fighting to be placed. We're all fighting to be placed on 3 teams, and it's just one of those things where you couldn't get starstruck. The luxury we had there, like I said, no social media. You may have read about somebody in a slam. You may have, like I said, see Sean Dockery on Prep West Hoops or something, but you didn't know these guys until somebody mentioned it to you, like, oh, that's Carmelo. Like, luckily I knew who he was, but outside of that, and the part that we love as competitors, you didn't know until the ball went up.
Yeah.
I didn't know JJ Redick. I did not have a clue who JJ Redick was. All of it, I guarantee you, when I left that camp, I knew who he was. It was like, man, this white boy got real game. Like, like he can really hoop, and but you had to prove it. You wasn't anointed that prior to getting on that floor. Like, I look, go follow the kid. He got like 70,000 followers. He the man. And then we get on the court and he trash. I'm like, dog, you had to prove yourself back then. I used to tell people, and the only way to get college coaches like Coach K and those guys to come out and see you, you had to be real good, because they couldn't watch you streamed or live on Facebook or something. If he's getting on a plane to come see you, you was pretty good. That USA, every college coach was there, plus NBA GMs. So apparently we were pretty good to get these guys to travel all the way to Colorado and breathe that thin air to see how good we were in a week, to really compete against these guys. But those moments, the best parts were not even on the court. The best parts were, shout out to USA for doing this. In our dorms, we had no TVs. So literally, when we were done with workouts and practicing and all that stuff, we would go eat and go back to the dorm. All we did was sit in this hallway and learn to talk to each other. You couldn't sit in your room and watch TV. We didn't have cell phones, so we wasn't all in our phones. You had to learn how to meet and introduce somebody, which is interesting, because that's how me and Jared Jack became close. We were sitting there, we was talking. He and I were both getting recruited by Georgia Tech, and we were sitting there just talking. Then Chris Bosh walks over. He's like, oh, man, I'm going to go to Georgia Tech. And I'm like, ooh, he was going there? And I'm like, nah, me and Jared both play the same position. So he like, well, I'm going to call Coach Ewan and tell him I want to play with you. I'm like, we were able to build those relationships that last to, like, they're still lasting. I talked to Jared here and there. I bumped into Carmelo not too long ago, before COVID hit, what I'm saying? And like, still able to have a relationship with LeBron, because we shared moments in that dorm hallway that only we'll be able to talk about. That was a priceless moment.
For sure, man. But it didn't end there, man. Your run and your expertise, obviously, you talked about college, the injuries and what it did, and then you started training. It led you to meet some interesting people, especially who I consider the greatest of all time. The strength and conditioning field, Tim Grover. What was that experience like, and what makes him stand out from other strength and conditioning coaches?
You hit it, man. I think Grover's one of the greatest, and I appreciate and I'm beyond grateful for him giving me the opportunity to learn under him for the two years that I did, and then that relationship, ended up transitioning to me and Kobe building a relationship, which is, as of right now, the highlight of my life. Rest in peace to the great Kobe. But Tim is just a mental guy, and it just, it's hard to put in words, Cordell, because he challenged you mentally. Like, Kobe didn't need Tim to get better. It was basketball wise, Kobe had his skill set. Kobe's a hard worker. It was to challenge him mentally. It was to get Kobe to think out the box. And Grove does that better than anybody. And it's proven, from Jordan to Cole to D-Wade to whoever else he's ever graced. He's able to get you to find another level mentally and stay there. One of the best stories I have for you guys, we're at Kobe camp at UC Santa Barbara, and after camp, Cole got to get his work in. So I get a call saying, "Key, come down." Like, I'm not gonna sit there and tell people I was Kobe's trainer. That's a lie. I was a rebounder in the first 2 years. And I worked hard at my rebounding. So don't take that away from me. I ran down every damn ball and made sure it got back there. But I was like, really, you got to, because if it bounced 2 times, Kobe's gonna say something, and if Kobe says something, they're gonna kick you out. So you really was out there rebounding. I was the Ben Wallace of my workouts. But we were there, we're getting ready. Kobe would go through his warm-up, and the stretching, dynamic stretching and everything. And then they had this thing called mental reps. I'm sitting there listening like, these dudes are crazy. Like, Tim Grover's lost it. What is a mental rep? So hear me out. So I'm standing under the court. It's not a basketball site. All the balls are still on the stands. So Kobe gets to about the 15-foot, about the block, goes to the block, and Grove says, "All right, Cole, go through your reps." And I promise you, just close your eyes and imagine with me. He spins the ball out that he does not have, jumps, catches it, does his little shoulder shake, one dribble, right shoulder fade. And the words, "Damn, that's off left," came out of his mouth. And in that moment, I realized either he's crazy or I'm delusional, because there's no way in the world he saw a ball miss that he did not shoot. This I know I'm crazy. Like, I'm losing it. Like, there's no way in the world this man just saw that. So he does it again. Same thing every time. Boom, one dribble, shoulder, right shoulder spin. That was in. Next rep, front rim. Damn, I was short. I'm sitting there thinking, damn, I love Kobe, but I can't be friends with him. Like, this ain't gonna work. I can't do it. I'm cool on him. He's weird. He's crazy. We knew he was socially awkward, but he's weird. I'm cool. This will be pay me my money. This will be the last day I rebound for y'all, because this is a coat, and I'm not a part of this. I can't do this. Then it all made sense. Stay with me. And then it all made sense, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever saw. We finally got a chance to see it in action. So mind you, as a rebounder, I didn't know if I was supposed to chase down these imaginary basketballs, so I stood still. Then he threw the ball.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, he's saying left, like, oh shit, I just run left. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. But he's like, no. So once he threw the ball in, it all made sense, and this was beautiful. He got the ball. He literally went through the same exact motions: catch it, spin it, hop, one dribble, shoulder shake, right shoulder fade. And he knew when it left his hand whether it was off left, middle, short, or in. And he repped his mind to know how that feels, whether he has a ball or not. When he did it, I instantly said he's the greatest player to ever pick up a basketball. And I've lived with that since. I saw it. I said, that is crazy that he mentally has a feel whether he has the ball or not. If his body mechanics are correct, he knows where the shot is going, off left or middle, or all just off of mental, him knowing how his body feels in that moment. I say, Grove, y'all are unreal. I will join this coat as of tonight.
Man, that's a level of basketball that's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, only he reached that level. That's why he was Kobe. Only Kobe reached that level. No one with that. That's a different man, brother. Trust me. Rest in peace, Kobe. We miss you. We love you. But I never saw that. I didn't even understand it. That changed my whole vision of training. I didn't want to put no more cones down. And it makes sense because in this game, you gotta have an imagination. That's why I don't put up the pop-up defenders and all that. I'm not saying they're not useful. They're not good. They're valuable for maybe younger kids because they have to develop it. But if we're dealing with pros and the pros that I've worked with over the last 9-10 years, that's me in a basketball. That's all Cole had. We don't need nothing else. If he can't imagine one dribble pull up, get to the elbow, and the defender's there, then this game ain't gonna work for you. If you don't know when to Euro step because the help's coming over, or to step off fade because the big close out, I can't help you now. So when I was able to see that this game is really way more mental than it is physical, I was able to grow as a man and as a coach and as a trainer.
And that's a hell of a story, but it makes sense. I remember Kobe talking about Giannis. I went out there to train with him, and he took him through the same thing. And he was just like, the best thing I could tell you is just use your imagination when you're working out. It'll take your game to the next level. And you see what he's been doing the past few years. You know what I mean? So, it is what it is. That's why he dunking on everybody, because that's probably what he imagined, and dunking on everybody. So it totally makes sense, man. But you joined forces with Chris Young, a highly respected street ball player and high school coach from your area, the former Air West, which is sponsored by Nike. And y'all hold some exclusive runs for invited hoopers. So, what was the thinking behind starting that?
The thinking behind that was just like everything that I've tried to be a part of, whether my business or my attachment to Drew League or just anything, is creating with this prep school, is creating something that doesn't exist. I was able to, along with Chris, able to monopolize Open Gym. We're the only sponsored Open Gym in the world. We're sponsored by the biggest brand in the world to run Open Gym. Now, it's not your Open Gym that anybody can just be there. But at the end of the day, we figured this was something Los Angeles needed. With all the guys that are here, all the talent that is here, they need somewhere to play. And I was very strict about who to invite. Do you have to have a resume? Could it be the homeboy down the street that I know that's pretty good? But when these guys come home, whether overseas or NBA in their off season, I don't want them going to 24-hour fitness, potentially getting hurt and not really getting better. So if I bring 10, 15 overseas guys, I bring a couple NBA guys, I bring some college guys, and we get in here and we play. Then it was like, you know what? We need reps because game point going to take 10 days if we let certain people have the ball. So now we need reps. Then I don't know you. You're coming in. You're coming in this day. Me and Cardell both decided to wear black shirts, and he guarded me, but you don't know who's on your team because we both got on the same shirt. I'm like, we need uniforms. So I was like, what we decided to do was take Open Gym and turn it into mini games. And that's why it was able to flourish. And Nike just loved the idea because you were able to take this at all levels. You could go from kids up to pros. And then we did decide to do it during the middle of the week because we didn't want to compete with the Drew League on the weekends or any pro league on the weekends. And then we did decide to do it at night because, we didn't want to step on the toes of our other guys that were having their midday runs, Rico Hines, shout out Rico, and all the other guys that were doing runs in other cities because, y'all do them in the middle of the day. Certain guys may miss those workouts or miss those runs because of whatever reason. Somebody may fly in late, and all of a sudden, well, you still got something because we're going to do it middle of the week at night. And they love that night run. They love that feel, and we kept it exclusive. It wasn't even open to the public. You could bring a girl or something, but we had security. You felt safe. NBA guys pulling up in, these expensive cars, but you wasn't the only expensive car in the lot. And, you have somebody there watching your cars. You come in with all this jewelry, your nice Louis bag. You can drop your bag. Ain't nobody going to steal from you. All these dudes in there got money. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a brotherhood that has been expansive. And like I said, it blossomed into something special. COVID pushed that back a little bit because, now we don't know how that is to be socially gathered on a basketball court. But, once it comes back, man, we were on something special with bringing in the kids. But, we'll continue that, man. I'm happy to be a part of that with Chris.
For sure, that's big time. Go ahead, Wilson.
All right, Keion. Don't leave us yet. We're gonna take a quick break. We got to get this 9-4-50 in. Cannot leave Jamal Hayward out this week on a 9-4-50 breakdown. He is going to be demoing shooting options off the same foot stop. Again, shooting options off the same foot stop. Y'all, thank y'all for hanging with us this long. Don't not go anywhere. Still got more Keion. Enjoy the rest of the focus, but make sure you enjoy Jamal Hayward's installment of the 9-4-50 breakdown first. All right, folks, welcome back to the Focus TV once again. Big thank you to Jamal Hayward for knocking out the 9-4-50 each and every week. Look, I'm sitting here like you guys. I want y'all to get back to this conversation. So, Cardell.
All right, Keion, the Drew League. We spoke about this many times over the phone. I read somewhere that you train 75% of the players in the league, which is ridiculous. Just talk about how much the Drew League has grown from when you were playing coming up to now, where it's pretty much documentaries, it's on TV here and there. It's like the preeminent league in the country right now, and how competitive the league is.
Like you said, you and I have talked about it for years, and I'm just so happy and excited and blessed to be a part of it and help it grow as it has exponentially from just being a little, hidden gem for us here in LA on the east side of Los Angeles to now being something global, And as you stated, training 75% in the Drew is just because I wanted to be the guy when I got into this business. I didn't do it for money. I got into it to help those that had excuses about people not helping them, So for me, it was about just being there and being present. It doesn't hurt me to have an extra dude get some reps in. They may not be able to afford it. And it was just giving these guys hope, giving them a chance to believe that they can make it out, because now there's no excuse. Oh, I ain't got no money to pay for a trainer. Well, I'll train you. Just show up on time and work hard. And then just being a part of the Drew, I created Junior Drew. We sat down and brought an idea together to do something for the kids and the community. And that's what the Drew is all about, community. And having these kids, come, and Nike blessed us with product and putting uniforms and shoes on these kids and having them be a part of it and having all-star games during the championship Sunday. And it's grown. It's grown to something that, I didn't expect. I was just trying to like I said, get back to my community that raised me and be there. And now with the Drew being global and worldwide and nationally known as, arguably the #1 program in the country, we have just so much visibility on everybody just looking at us. Shout out to my boy. He's from Maryland. Oh God, Bruce Massey. He came down last summer and put on a show. He rep Maryland.
Yeah, we heard it.
God, we missed the home all summer. He came and put on a show. Oh me, oh my. And then like I said, when the KDs of the world come down and it's just LeBron and Kobe, and it's just those guys walking that gym, and they understand that it's not just your average. I'm gonna just get up here, get up 40 shots and walk out. Like, we hold you accountable. Trae Young came through and realized, like, nah, anybody here to play with you? We all know what happened to Denzel Valentine, so we're not going there. It's just one of those things where it's just one of those things where, you know, we take it so serious. And that's like you said, for us, when you have those guys that don't get a chance to make it overseas, or guys like myself whose career may have been cut short, the Drew League is your NBA. Like, and they prepare for it, they plan for it, and this is life or death. You'd be surprised how many friendships you lose when you tell a dude you ain't got a spot for him, or, oh man, I don't know if it's gonna work, or you cut a dude and get some. Oh my God, it is so tough doing from May to August. A lot of friendships are at risk. You know what I'm saying? Because you'll do, oh, Key, can I play for you next summer? I'm like, man, both of my teams are kind of pros. You know, like, if you're not a top tier overseas guy, maybe an NBA guy, you really can't play on my team. But, you know, I'll see what I can do. And I see what I can do turns into, Key, you said you got a spot for me. No, I didn't. But nonetheless, it's just everybody wants to be on that platform. It's 24 teams, and, you know, you're not, it's not bragging rights. It's literally y'all playing for your pride. You know, like I said, some of these dudes you get to go against DeMar DeRozan and the Nick Youngs. You get to go against some top tier NBA guys, and you'll never play against some dudes anywhere else. And be able to go at them competitively and jump on that floor and say that you may have got the best of somebody or to gain their respect is just, man, it's unbelievable, man. And I pray that, you know, once this COVID thing, you know, clears up and we're all in the situation where we can get back to some form of normalcy, that we're able to have the Drew next summer and get right back to where we left off.
My final question for you, you're going to leave it where we started off at. Where do you want to see NELA Prep down the road?
Oh, man, I wanted to be Monteverde. I wanted to be IMG, Brewster. I wanted to make sure where, if you know any kids out there in Maryland, any in the East Coast area, to send them west. I want that here. Like I said, we had it with Finlay Prep until they went under. Like I said, Prolific's doing a hell of a job. You know, Jalen Green last year, they've gotten better this year. There's a few in Arizona. Hillcrest has done well. Dream City Christian, Arizona Compass, Wasatch in Utah. Like I said, the West Coast is kind of picking it up a little bit to compete with those guys nationally. And I got to have Los Angeles in that conversation. We got to be in that conversation because we're in every other conversation. You know, best players in the world come from Los Angeles. Where does everybody want to live? Los Angeles. The best weather? Los Angeles. You know, like everything is here. You know, like I said, Sierra Canyon, Bronny Jr., Jay LeBron is here. It's the Hollywood lights and the palm trees, you know, but I need to be in that conversation, not just selfishly because I want more for my city. It's just as me, just I want to get that back. We haven't, like I said, outside of us winning the national championship, I think Chino Hills, when Melo and them were there, when Zoe and them was there, they nationally put on a show. And then outside of Sierra Canyon, you don't hear about us no more. And being that California, our CIF, our governing body, which doesn't govern prep schools, won't allow regular high schools like Sierra Canyon or Modern Day to go play against prep schools or in the Geico Nationals. We're not competing for a national title anymore. So with prep schools, we're able to compete at that level. So I just want to bring one back home eventually. That's not the goal at this moment, but eventually I want to bring that national title back to California.
All right, we're going to take our final break, and then when we get back, we're going to close out watching the Focus TV. Right, welcome back. I just want to give a very special thank you to Keion Kindred tonight for coming through, man. Look, man, like I said, I just didn't want to stop the conversation. I hope folks got a lot out of it. I know I was sitting back getting a lot out of this as well. But thank you so much for sharing some of your time this evening with us. Wish you nothing but continued success and look forward to having you back on at a later date. You know, hopefully when the world opens and NELA Prep gets to rocking and rolling. But for everyone else, you guys already know, follow us on social. Got a lot of stuff going on. You know, the bubble, both things are both happening right now. You know, Raymond and I are staying up extremely late, knocking out these nightly recaps. Y'all can't tell, but my eyes are red all the time. It's bad. I need the playoffs to start, right? I can't wait for the playoffs. So it goes from 7 games a day to like 2. But again, I want to thank you guys for supporting us. We'll see you guys next week. same time, same place as always. Thanks for watching the Focus TV.
All right, folks. No problem, man.
All right, y'all.